This is a space for the in-between, for the quiet moments after the storm, for the people still learning how to stand again. Here, we talk about what it means to lose and still love, to break and still build, to hurt and somehow still hope. Because sometimes life takes from us in ways that we'll never really fully understand. And yet, there's just something about the human heart that just keeps reaching toward light, toward meaning, toward tomorrow. So if you're carrying something heavy today, if you've ever wondered how to find your footing again, you're in good company here. Here, where resilience meets radiance. And every story reminds us, even after loss, I promise you, there's still light ahead. I'm Dan Bradley, and I'm really glad you're here. This is Braving the Bright Side. Oh, hi. It's good to see you again. Well, I mean, I can't see you, but you know what I mean. It's figure speech. For returning listeners, it's really good to see you again. It's good to have you back. For new listeners, I'm excited to have you here. Hope everyone's week has been delicioso. Hope it's been bright. Hope it's been freeing. Hope it's been, maybe a little bit lighter than it has been as we reach our towards the end of October here. Hope you accomplished some things, and if you didn't accomplish a lot of things, that's okay. I hope it was a good weekend. I hope you're able to relax, and I'm glad you're here. Let's see here. I've had a pretty good week, pretty big week. Made some progress in a lot of things, a lot of good talks, a lot of good interviews. Got some cool things coming down the pike that I can't quite talk about just yet until I finalize some things. But I am very excited about hopefully some possible announcements that I'll be able to talk about in the near future. That will be cool. I think I put some work in this week that hopefully will pay off down the road. I am excited to tell you that next week's episode will be a coffee break. And it'll be Halloween focused. If you know me, I'm a big Halloween nerd. I feel like I've mentioned that on here before. Big Halloween nerd. Love the horror movies. Love this time of the year. Love the cold air. Even when the Phillies aren't around, that's fine. I've moved on. It's no big deal. I don't want to talk about it. But Halloween is my favorite time of the year because Christmas, and then literally right behind Christmas is Halloween. I can still be 10 years old. I can still dress up. Give me some shorts. Give me a hoodie. Boy, howdy. I'm here for it. And I know there's people out there be like, well, aren't you a little too old to keep dressing up for Halloween? Don't you think it's a bit silly? I think it's silly that you don't dress up for Halloween. I think it's silly you don't get excited for the possibility of dressing up like your favorite superhero or just some random pop culture idol of yours, Maybe Super Mario Brothers. I don't know what you're into, but I think it's sad if you don't take hold of your own whimsy and your own imagination you had when you were 10 years old. And even for one day, even for one night, even for just a couple hours, break it out, dust it off, and pretend you're 10 years old again and pretend you're your favorite superhero or your favorite character from when you're growing up. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I think you're weird if you don't want to do that. There you go. I said that. I know we don't really judge on this podcast, but I'm just saying it's okay to have some fun and loosen up a little bit. I feel like I kind of went off track there. Let me get off my soapbox and get back to what I was trying to tell you is that, yes, next week's episode is going to be Brightside Coffee Break, our very first, hopefully of very many to come, our very first Halloween special, which I'm super excited for you about that. I wrote out something kind of cool that ties into, I don't know how much Halloween means to me, but also tying into, I don't want to give too much away, but it ties into very kind of a horror themed, with a splash of hope, because that's kind of what we do around here, right? Just slap you in the face with hope as much as I can. I feel like that sounded weirder than I meant for it to sound, so let's keep moving. One thing I can share with you right now, which I am excited for, um, is something that I've been working on pretty much since the first episode of the podcast. Actually, since before the podcast hit. I started working on a playlist of songs that I thought, all right, in a perfect world, if I could get the royalties and if I had all the money in the world, I can make a playlist, right? So how about this? Before I get into today's feel good news story, I want to share something special with you. Like literally, I made an official Braving the Bright Side playlist. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll probably recognize a few of the songs right away. Except for the song, like a lot of the songs that I would use, as promoting the episodes, promoting the guests, they're all on there. Each one that I handpicked, these are songs that I felt like connected to the interview or the episode and the guests themselves. Songs kind of spoke to me. I was like, this really feels like is a theme song of this person, or the theme song is at least of their message or this episode, which I actually, I really enjoy doing. And I think I did a pretty good job with it. I always check with the guests beforehand, like, you cool with this song? And get their clearance, and then I put it on there. So all those songs are on there. So if you heard any bangers on the IG page, they're all going to be on there. Songs that speak to their journey, their message, and the moments that they talk about. But you'll also find a few on there that inspire me personally. Songs that kind of just light a fire under me when I'm feeling pretty dark and down. Some songs that, brighten me up, kind of remind me who I am. Some badass songs that are just badass. And then some songs that make the world feel just a little less heavy. Some songs don't even have lyrics. They're just nice little tunes. Nice little jingle jangles, if you will. But only if you will, because you don't have to. Because honestly, nice little jingle jangles, I don't know if that's a real saying. Anyway, so I do like this playlist, and I think I actually listen to it every once in a while when I'm feeling down. But here's the part where I think is kind of cool, hopefully. And hopefully you think it's cool, because it's kind of the whole point of me talking to you right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link the playlist in this week's episode's description, and I'll probably leave it in the description for all, or at least for a little while, of all the podcast episodes. Hopefully here's the fun part, though. I want you, if you want to be a part of it as well. So I was thinking, if there's a song that, keeps you grounded or helps you stay a little brave or just lifts your spirit, feel free to send it my way. Send it to me on Instagram, email it to me, whatever have you. I would love to be able to add it to the playlist. I think that'd be really cool. Any kind of song that speaks to you in any way, within reason. I mean, come on. But I think it would be really cool to think of it as like our own, personal soundtrack to kind of beating back the dark parts of this world and the heavy parts and the shadows and the stuff that kind of pulls us down when you're feeling it, when you're really, really feeling it. This could be a soundtrack for all of us to beat that back and kind of remember that there's still life and there's still light worth chasing. And I think it would be an absolute honor to have your song of choice on there. So I would love that. So I will link it in the description of the podcast. Feel free to go on there. And if you don't even have a song, just feel free to go on there and listen to it and let me know what you think. Email me. I think you can message me directly via the podcast. I don't really know how that works. I'm still kind of new to this, but I'm working on it. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the playlist at the bare minimum, and I would love to hear your own songs on there. So send them my way, please. Cool? Cool. Okie dokie. Switching things up ever so slightly. Let's get into our feel-good news story. There's a lot of crappy news out there, smashing you in the face, in the eyes, in the ears, wherever you may feel it. Gets a little heavy. So I do some digging, and I try to find a little bit of a lighter news story for all of us that kind of makes you realize, you know what? Maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe we can get through this. And that's not a maybe, because we're going to. I promise. Might not be easy, but we're going to get through it. So what I did is I dug and I dig, and I find myself at goodgoodgood.co. Not .com, but .co. Not entirely sure why, but that's what it is. And again, I'll be linking this article in the description as well. That's the website I found this article in. So this one's fun, and it's, I feel like, right up the alley of what we do here. It's called, the title of the article is, "In Surprising New Study, Researchers Find Hope, Not Happiness, is Key to a Meaningful Life." Booyah. I don't know if there's ever been more of an article that is perfect for this podcast. All right, here we go. Sometimes hope can have a reputation for being a symptom of wishful thinking or an unserious pursuit of positivity. But according to a new study from the University of Missouri, hope is a powerful emotional force that may even be more essential to our well-being than happiness or gratitude. A team of researchers, led by Megan Edwards and Laura King from the university's Department of Psychological Sciences, decided to pursue a study outside of the field's existing belief that hope is tied only to goal setting and motivation. I hope this is still making sense to you. Our research shifts the perspective on hope from merely a cognitive process related to goal attainment to recognizing it as a vital emotional experience that enriches life's meanings, said Edwards, who earned a doctorate at Mizzou and is now a postdoctoral research at Duke University. My gosh, these words are something. All right. This insight opens new avenues for enhancing psychological well-being, he says. The research, recently published in American Psychological Association's Emotion, quote unquote, compiles 6 separate studies with more than 2,300 participants from diverse backgrounds. Through these studies, the researchers analyzed a range of emotions, such as amusement, contentment, excitement, and happiness. Findings consistently demonstrated that only hope was a consistent predictor of a stronger sense of meaning in life. Experiencing life as meaningful is crucial for just about every good thing you can imagine in a person's life, King said in a statement for the university. King added that experiencing meaning is a central part of psychological functioning and predicts other important health outcomes like happiness, high-quality relationships, higher income, and improved physical health. With their findings in mind, the researchers encourage anyone to do what they can to build hope each day as a way to enhance their quality of life. One suggestion is to pay attention to and appreciate even the smallest of positive moments, getting people in the habit of noticing when things are going well. Another suggestion from the researchers is to seize opportunities, even in chaotic and uncertain times, which, let's be honest with ourselves, kind of feels like that's all the time, every day, for a lot of us anyway. Particularly applicable to this moment in time, this practice can help instill a sense of forward momentum and encourage people to appreciate growth in themselves and others. Recognizing ongoing progress can inspire thoughts of a positive future, King and Edwards post. The researchers also point to caring and nurturing activities as inherent hope builders, like tending to children, planting a garden, or taking a long-term project that requires individuals to invest time and patience for a possible outcome. And when things are at their bleakest, while it might sound trite, the researchers remind people that nothing lasts forever. Situations can change, a statement from Mizzou concludes, and hope begins with the belief that they will. A groundbreaking study that illuminates the deeper impact of hope, the researchers are eager that will pave the way for other studies of this nature. According to the university's press release, future research aims to explore the power of hope in especially difficult times, with the goal of developing strategies that help people stay hopeful and find meaning in life, especially amid adversity. This cornerstone of psychological functioning is not a rare experience, King said of finding meaning in life. It is available to people in their everyday lives, and hope is one of the things that make life feel meaningful. And that is the article. I think I've already used this phrase earlier in this episode, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Boy, howdy. Does that speak to me? I mean, I've finding hope in every day is tough. Finding hope in general for a lot of us right now is super tough. I don't want to keep hammering away on the same thing over and over when I say this, but we are being hit over the head with so much news, so much footage, so much downer shit. I'm not putting that lightly. I'm not writing anything off. It's true. It's just everywhere you look, you're just kind of reminded, oh, there's a dumpster fire everywhere. And it is tough. It's tough to, that's the name of the podcast, Braving the Bright Side. And it's tough to kind of find that brightness. It's tough to find that hope, especially in our everyday lives, especially when you're doing the same thing over and over and over. And it's kind of become mundane possibly, or you kind of get used to the same scenario and your same patterns over and over. What brightness, what hope do you see if you're just doing the same thing over and over? But even in those same patterns, even those same days, even those same routes you take, there's still hope to be found. And it's tough. It's tough to remind yourself of that. I still struggle with it all the time. It's tough to kind of go through and have hope. But what I really like about this article is it's a bunch of scientists, a bunch of nerds, a bunch of scientists telling you hope is super important for your soul. It's super important for your health. And I like that people are like blown away by this. They're like, actually, new study just happens to reveal this. But it really, hope, yeah, it's not a word that you can just kind of lightly toss around. It's not just a tagline in a movie or a book. Or a terrible Kate Hudson TV show. It's something real. It's something that your soul needs. It's something we all need. And it's important that we look for it every day. It's tough to be in this world and consistently try to keep the positivity going and to choose to be the light in a room full of shadows, or, in a world of people just being down. I said it before, I've said it many times, you're going to be surrounded by people that are just downers, right? They'll see you smiling, or they'll see you happy, or they'll hear about success, and their initial reaction is to snuff it out. Or they're just going through something and they're just having a tough time. And it's tough. It is tough to be the one to consistently be like, that's okay. I'm really sorry to hear that. Or I hope you're okay, but I'm going to keep going down this path here of looking for the bright side. And it is super tough, but hey, these scientists just told you hope is super important and you got to look for it. If you want to enrich your life in so many aspects, mentally, physically, monetary, apparently, look for the hope every single day. It's there. I promise you it's out there. Again, the nerds, the scientists. I have nothing against scientists, by the way. I don't know why I keep calling them nerds. Scientists have proved it out there, that it's out there and every day, and you have to find it, and it makes your life a little bit better. So keep it going. Keep your head up. Keep finding hope out there. I'm going to keep trying. And yeah, it was a good article. It was a great article. Arguably my best article. No one beat this article. It's the best article. So yeah, hell yeah. Look for hope. All right. Just look for hope for us, for me. Great. All right. Let's turn to our guest. Today's conversation lives in that same spirit that we were just talking about, but it reaches a little deeper, because sometimes the brightest light comes from people who've had to walk through the darkest places to find it. My guest, Andrea Pierson, is one of those people. She spent her career helping student athletes build lives beyond the game, reminding them that they're more than their titles or their trophies. But her work took on a whole new meaning after losing 2 former athletes to suicide. In the wake of that heartbreak, Andrea co-founded Tomorrow Needs You, a foundation that exists to remind every struggling person that they are loved, they are seen, and they are needed here. This episode does touch on mental health and suicide. And while those conversations can get pretty heavy, they're also deeply important. My hope is that you'll listen with an open heart, whether for yourself or for someone you care about, and come away reminded that help, healing, and connection are always worth reaching for. Here is my conversation with Andrea Pierson. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome Andrea Pierson to Braving the Bright Side. Andrea, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's lovely October 1st.
Yeah, crazy. Can't believe it is already. I know.
Man.
We're finally getting cooler weather down here, so I'll take it.
And where are you at right now?
In Louisiana.
Ah,
So,
Louisiana.
yeah, a little outside of New Orleans.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Philly here. We're
Oh,
outside of Philly.
nice.
Yeah,
So probably
so
a
we
little
go
chillier, but
a little bit. I mean, it goes from like 75 degrees to 55 degrees to 80.
yeah,
It's great. It's great for the sinuses.
yeah.
Um, so how are things? How's life? How's your days going?
They're good. They're busy. I work for an organization now called Uplifting Athletes, so it keeps me super busy, but it's very fulfilling and very rewarding. I feel lucky to get to do what I do, so
Yeah.
loving it, loving life.
Very cool. Very cool. So let's see here. Let's say, what's something that's been bringing you joy lately, big or small?
Um, I feel like it's small and big at the same time, but my fiance and I we have two kids, so they've just been busy. We have a 4-year-old who just got into sports, and so they're both playing soccer this year. So we have a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. So just watching life happen, like there's nothing better than that, and, like, I enjoy being around sports too, so, like, getting them to enjoy it and have fun with it, but it's just those little moments of life spent with them that just brings you joy every day.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. If you had to describe your life right now in one word,
Oh,
what would it be? Sometimes I flip this to the end of the interview, to the beginning of
no,
the interview. I'm gonna hit you in the beginning right now.
maybe in the beginning. Crap, I wasn't ready, that was a good one. One word?
I mean, you can do 2 words if it's a super struggle.
I know, I don't know, I just said this word, so maybe that's why it's on my brain, but just fulfilling. Like, again, I was just talking about those little moments. I feel like we're in that stage of life right now where, like, again, they're just learning life and trying to figure things out, so, like, that's awesome, and then same with my job. Like, my job has a huge piece of my heart and just what I get to do every day and the people I get to work with, people, I get to serve, all of that. Like, I feel pretty blessed.
That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds beautiful. You're gonna hear me use that word a lot around here. Beautiful. So
Yeah.
just a heads up.
Right.
But a lot of things are beautiful. And one
Yeah,
of the cool
sure.
things about this podcast and things that I'm blessed for is being able to talk to so many amazing people
Yes.
and make these connections. And it's very enriching
Yeah.
for the souls and everybody out there listening too. So your story is pretty incredible as well. And I'm excited for people to hear it. Let's start by just sharing a bit about your background. What
Mhm.
drew you in athletics and student advising in the first place and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I went to the University of Toledo for undergrad. And when I got there, I am an incredibly indecisive person. So
Mhm.
I was super late deciding where I wanted to go to school and making that decision. And kind of worked out for me in the sense I got a crap schedule. So I like didn't start classes until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was like, what am I gonna do? And I was very into basketball at the time. I played during high school. It wasn't great, but again, it was my sport. I loved watching college basketball, March
Yeah.
Madness, all of that. So
What were your
as
teams?
I grew up with a friend who her
Mhm.
family was from Kansas, so I was a big Jayhawk fan growing up. Once I got into college, then I was always just rooting for, like, my team and then just always the underdog during March Madness. I think it makes it more fun. I think that's what makes March Madness fun too, is, like,
Yeah,
you know who's gonna win, so, but yeah, I was a Jayhawk fan growing up because of one of my friends, so
very
they
cool.
were fun to watch at the time too, so
Yeah.
But again, I saw a flyer and it was like, "Come be a manager for the basketball team," and I was like, "I mean, I have the time, why not?" So, that's what got me into athletics, but, my undergrad was in recreational therapy, and I had, one of the she was the director of ops at the time at Toledo when I was working with women's basketball, and she was like, "Andrea, have you ever looked into, like, the academic side of athletics? Like, you love being around athletics, but, like, you just have this, like, heart and passion for helping people," and she was like, "It's not exactly the route you thought you were gonna go, but it may make sense for what you wanna do," and so, when she said that, I was graduating and I was looking at grad assistantships and that sort of thing, and so
Mm.
I kind of applied all over the place into different things, and I landed at Mississippi State with a grad assistantship there in their athletic academic department, and just fell in love with it for the exact reasons she kind of identified. It kept me around athletics and around sports, which I love. It's exciting, it's high pace, like, all of that, so it's super fun, but then I'm such a people person, and I need that, like, that relationship side to be able to, like, get to know people, like, you want.
Action there, yeah.
Yeah, so, it kinda opened up my world to that, and, so, again, I got in at Mississippi State, loved what I was doing, knew that's what I wanted to do, and so when I graduated from there, again, just kind of, like, applying all over, going through that application process, I ended up at the University of New Mexico, so I was an
Oh,
academic.
wow.
Yeah, and quite the change from Ohio to Mississippi to New Mexico, and now Louisiana.
Yeah.
People are like, "How did you get to all of these places?" But yeah, it was, like, definitely, like, culture shock, completely different environment and all of that when I went out there, but I loved it. But I worked with, football, softball, and women's golf out there during my time, and so, I was there for 3.5 years working in the athletic department.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, you really were all over the place.
Yeah, I know. People are like and, like, just the places I did end up, and I moved to Mississippi sight unseen, so that was quite different
Mm,
too, also culture shock from Ohio to Starkville, Mississippi, and
yeah,
but I loved it. I've loved every place I've lived for different
that's
reasons.
cool.
Yeah.
Since you're all over the place between Mississippi State and you said New Mexico, what was it like working so closely with, like, student athletes during that time? What did you
Yeah,
really pull from that? What did you really enjoy about that?
for me, it's like I don't know, I feel like that stage of life too, when you're like an 18 to 22-year-old kid and, like, going through that, I mean, when I started too, I mean, I was still pretty young too when I was working with them, but, I just feel like that's, like, such a defining part of your life where, like, just the experiences you have, like, you're figuring out what's next, where you're going, so working with students that are just, like, they're just trying to figure it out, it's like,
Some
I
real
think
character building years there.
it is. Yeah, so, like, I feel like you always have to keep that in mind, and in college athletics, though, too, I think it's so glamorized, and so people look up to them, like, they're these, like, full-blown adults, which some of the football guys look like it, like, they're these big, giant humans, but they're still 18 to 22-year-old kids that are trying to figure life out and, like, where they're going. Um so just, like, helping them to figure that out, like, everybody comes in with aspirations of going pro and, like, that's what's next, but the reality of that is not there, so,
Mhm.
kinda trying to, like, just to help them figure out, like, what is next, what does that look like? Like, you can still have that as your dream and your goal, but you always have to have a plan B and know what's going on, and just, again, like, getting them to see those different things, like try out different classes, like talk to different people, just experience life in general and everything that they're going through. It's just a very unique time. And then
Yeah,
it is for any college student. And then you add in the pressure of athletics and college sports and like what they're facing, like being kind of like, like those stars on campus and
yeah.
everybody's watching them and what they're doing. It kind of adds another layer to it. So I think they're searching for people too that are going to help guide them through that process and help them and be a resource and somebody to lean on. So it just was like a cool environment with if you care about people and like care about making them better, it's a
Yeah.
very unique setting where you get to really know people and help them.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of times we see a lot of these kids through the lens of, like, TV or cameras or, even on campus walking around, and, yeah, they come off as these larger than life, you know,
Yeah.
not characters, but these
They
human
are.
beings on TV, you know what I mean? It's like NFL
Mhm.
and then college, or something like that, or,
Yeah.
NBA and college. Um, so that's really cool. Would you just kind of find other passions that they were into and then help them kind of explore that as like a plan B kind of a thing, or?
Yeah, so, I mean, really, like, I mean, everybody comes in as a freshman thinking they know what major they wanna do and, like, what path they wanna go down.
Mhm,
So, I mean, like, you help them figure those things out, but also, like, encourage them to try different things and just through the time, like, when students came in as freshmen, like, it didn't matter what sport, like, they're required to meet with us weekly as advisors, like, truly, it's just because, again, like, you have 18-year-olds that are being recruited from out of state, like, we're pulling kids from Texas and California, Oregon, like, all over, pulling them down to New Mexico, like, this completely new environment,
mhm,
like, you don't have parents around, you don't have, like, all of these things, like, this normal structured environment that you may or may not have had, then all of a sudden you're put in this new one, so, they had to check in with us weekly, and, like, through that, you just get to know them as people and as humans, and you find out these interests and other things, so it was cool to, like, push them in different directions, um I had one student who I will probably talk about later on, who was like he had to do a foreign language class. It was one of the requirements for his major, and he was interested in sign language. And so he took a class and it stuck. It was like finally like something like this like light bulb went off of like, I enjoy this, and I'm like,
yeah,
"You have a career in this," and he's like, "What?" And you're like, "I can do that?" Like, "Yes, like, you can do this, you can help kids, like, you can go be a coach for people that are, deaf," like, there's so many things that you can do in this career, and, like, there's an opportunity here, and it was finally, like, an opportunity that's no longer just football, like, you see
mhm,
this life ahead of you that is, like, a completely different path, and then it's like, "Wait, there's a whole lot more out there." So, like,
yeah.
those moments of kinda, like, pushing them into something new and they just try it and, like, "Oh, it sticks." Like, that was the incredible part, I think, to see.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, I just talked to, did you know Will, right? You know Will?
Yes, we love
Um,
Will. Will's the best.
he really is, and talking to him obviously was incredible, but that he very much that's like a big part of his story was that football was his life, and
Yeah,
he planned on just doing football, and then suddenly his body was, like, breaking down, he couldn't figure out why, and he had to figure something else out, and
yeah,
turns out he loved engineering, you know?
right. I
So
know. Yeah, I think again, it's like, you can't blame them again, it's like going back to that
mhm,
fact of, like, coming in as an 18-year-old who's only ever known this, especially, like, if they're playing at the collegiate level, that means they were really, really good when they were in high school, like,
yeah,
so it's also, like, that part of it where it just becomes their whole life and, like, that's what they know, and so if
and
they're
that
not
and the pressure of that too alone is a lot.
a lot, a lot, and again, like, you never know either, like, everybody has such different backgrounds and comes from different stories, so there's also the pressures to like, familial pressures of being, like,
Mm,
expected to achieve and, like, what you need to do to be able to help your family or to get to a certain point, like, there's pressures from that, there's pressures from coaches, like, to being
yeah,
able to perform, like, there's so much going on and so many layers to that, and again, so many layers for somebody who's just 18 and has barely seen the world,
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
It's a lot, and it's pretty cool that you get to kinda open their eyes all a bunch of different paths,
right,
you
yeah,
know?
and I think just encouraging them too, it's like,
Mhm,
they're told all the time, like, "You're really good at your sport, like, you're so good at softball, you're so good at football, like, you're the best golfer ever," but it's like, that's one little piece of who you are, and
right,
so many other things that you're good at too, like, and encouraging that too. Like, you're this whole person, like, that doesn't make up your identity. Like, that is a big part of it, and
yeah,
it's something you do and you probably love and wanna continue to do, but what else makes us us, Like,
that's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, that's like, especially at that time, at that age, identity is a big thing, like, what is your identity? What does that even mean? And, like, for your entire identity to be banking on being a, college athlete,
mm,
it just seems like that's all there is, and that is your identity, so if you take that away, what am I, you know?
like, what are you beyond that? And that's something
Right,
I, like, try to push them on because, like, you can see it and and, like, just and conversations, it's, like, identifying those things that are, like, this is what makes you you, Like, I think
mhm,
that an important part as my job as an advisor was like, I was still invested in what they were doing athletically, and, like, again, I cared about the college sports and that side of it, but it's like, you step into my office and you're the student, like, you're not the athlete, like, you're like, you can leave all of that there, you just get to be you, so who are you?
Yeah.
And trying
Yeah.
to figure that out.
It's gotta be really rewarding for you as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Yeah, like, just the like, the relationships that you build, like, you still stay in touch with those students, like, I've been to, like, my as I'm like, I don't wanna say this because it makes me feel old, but, like, a student's wedding, and then students that have had kids and, like, I
wow, yeah.
just I don't know, it's probably been a couple weeks now, but just recently, one of the students I worked with at New Mexico, he was a quarterback, and, him and his girlfriend are expecting a baby, but, like, he sent me a picture of, like, the pregnancy test, like, "Andrea, guess what?" Like, the person that they're coming to tell 'em, like, the exciting news still, and it's been I don't know, like, almost 5 years now,
Wow.
still hold left, like, that's, like, the rewarding part is you build genuine relationships with these people that
Yeah.
you get to, like, stay like, they're excited to still continue to celebrate life with you, so
That's incredible that you can connect on such a level that, 5
yeah,
years later, they're still reaching
you're
out to you.
still a yeah, you're still a part of their life and, like, those big moments that they wanna share them with you, I think is
Wow.
cool.
That's, like, raw and truthful. That's, like, it's real, That's really,
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
Um, man, alright, so how long you in New Mexico for? How long you doing this for?
I was there for 3.5 years. So I started in, like, again, fresh out of grad school. I moved there in August of 2017. And then I worked in athletics until, really, like, right before COVID. So
Wow.
I switched over to main campus, like, literally the day everybody started talking about COVID. I remember my softball girls were on a trip, and they were, like, not sure if they were gonna be able to send them on the trip the next week because everybody was like, "What is COVID? What's going
Yeah.
on?" and all of that, so
It's fascinating doing these talks and having these interviews and stuff like that. Um, and, I guess it's just human my brain, but, like, every once in a while, people are like, "And then COVID happened." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's right, yeah. During
isn't
all this, COVID's happening."
it crazy? Yeah, I know, I feel like it's gonna continue to be like that, where there's, like, this time of
Yeah.
life where you're like, "That was weird,
Yeah, it's just the
weird."
the the blip where nothing happened. My friend calls it the great big pause.
Yeah,
So,
exactly what it was, and for me, again, like, I stepped away from athletics into, like, a new role, and, like, so for
mhm.
me, it was, like, completely different, life and, like, lifestyle from what I was living before, so it was interesting, but yeah.
Yeah, so are you still in New Mexico when you stepped into this new role? Where did you say you went to?
So I was, when I stepped into the new role, I stayed in New Mexico for, like, not quite another year, and then
Mm,
that's when I moved to Louisiana. So I was
okay.
still working for the University of New Mexico, just no longer in athletics. And then I moved because everybody was working remotely, so that's how I came to Louisiana, and then, I've been here since then, but yeah, it was just my chance. Like, one of my friends from Mississippi State, she lived here, and so she was like, "Come here, like, I have a house, you don't know where you wanna go, but so you can just come here and stay," and now my whole life is here, but
Wow.
yeah,
Do you wanna get into the tough stuff now, the turning point?
yeah, we
So
can.
cool. Is that was in Louisiana, like, all this when everything changed, or was that
That
still
was
in New
that
Mexico?
was New Mexico, so, like, that's
Okay,
what led into me leaving athletics and
gotcha.
making the switch, so, yeah, everything was still in New
Mhm.
Mexico.
Alright, so we'll back up a minute, and you said
Yeah,
you're still in New Mexico. You've experienced some heartbreaking losses with your
yeah,
students. Can you walk us through some of those moments, what they were like for you personally, professionally, and, just
yeah,
kinda open up about that?
yeah. So, will probably get emotional during some of this too.
It's
So,
fine. So am I, if it makes you feel better.
um,
Totally fine.
yeah. So again, like a big part of what I was doing as an advisor, I think, especially like the students that I was working with, um, again, just coming from all kinds of different backgrounds and different levels of like support and resources in their life and like what they were used to. Again, we talked about like the pressures and everything coming in. Like I told people a lot of times it was like before I could ever even like touch academics with them, it's like you had to address all the other issues and everything going on in life and like big or small, like, they're big to everybody. So it's like we just had so many students that were and I think we've seen in our world now as, like, time goes on, it's, like, almost becoming more prevalent, which is scary and sad, but, like, a lot of student athletes were dealing with mental health issues, so, we were able to connect them with psychologists, like, that sort of thing, getting them into counseling and, like, as needed and that sort of thing, but, a lot of that was, falling on me. We didn't have a ton of resources where we were at, so it was like, you were, like, kinda like that first point of contact for them because, again, like, we were the ones that were, like, still connected to the sport, knew everything that was going on, but we had to again, like, we're making sure they're doing classwork and doing everything that they needed to do, and I think we got to develop because we see them every single day, they're coming in to do study hall hours every day. So, like, you just get to hear a lot more of what's going on, and you built those relationships with them, so, like, a lot of times I feel like I ended up being that first point of contact of, like, "Hey, this is what I'm dealing with, like, this is what's going on, like, I don't know what to do," you know? So,
Yeah.
um so again, just during that time, I feel like mental health was a big thing and a lot of people dealing with issues, and, so kind of like the first, I guess, thing was when in 2019, one of my former student athletes, his name's Ramel Jordan, he was going into actually, like, his, like, 5th, like, 6th year, so, he was trying to get another year of eligibility. He had gone through, like, injuries and that sort of thing, and so when all of that happened, he was trying to get another year of eligibility. It didn't quite work out, so he was still in school, trying to finish school. We were still paying for school, like, that sort of thing, while he finished up, but he wasn't gonna play anymore, and I think, again, just like, life hits hard, and we talk about, like,
Mhm.
identity and all of that kinda stuff, like, I clearly, like, I can't speak for him, but I think, again, just knowing everything he had been through, I think he hit a point of feeling like, he just didn't know where to go or what to do anymore, and I remember, the morning that we found out that he had passed, there was a student athlete sitting in my office, and like I said, he was a 6th year, so, like, I think there was, like, a little bit of disconnect with some of the newer students that didn't know, like, I had worked with him and that he was one of my students. They were like, "Did you hear that, like, Ramel passed away?" And I was like, "Wait, whoa, 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 like, rewind, like, Ramel Jordan?" And, like, they had just, like, he had passed away overnight, and
Mm.
he had been, again, like, off on his own trying to figure out and navigate world and took his own life. And that was kinda like, again, to, like, a point of we had s like, they literally called him, like, the mayor of New Mexico. Like, he was, like, one of those students when he was like, on the team, like, he was from the area, so he just, like, knew everything, knew everybody, and, like, he was the guy on the team that kinda, like, looked out for everybody, like the big brother,
Yeah.
you know? And so, I think it really, like, besides me, like, really rocked everybody's world of, like, this is real. Like, we had been starting to talk about mental health, like, a lot more, like, within our office, our staff, all of that, and it was, like, somebody that we know, that we love, that we were caring for, like, decided, like, they couldn't do it anymore, and
Mm.
it's, like, you start thinking this, like, what could I have done, like, you're replaying, like, he was just in here last week, like, should I have been asking him more questions, like, did I not get to the point of, like, what I needed to be able to know where he was, like, could I have done something else, and I think, like, family, friends, like, so many loved ones, like, this guy was, like, incredibly loved, like, that's what people say, like, you just really just never know what's going on,
Yeah.
but it makes you feel like when you're in those positions, like, as an advisor, it's like, I do know a lot of these things going on, so it's like, what else can I possibly do? But, um, beyond us, like, just, like, the students that we were working with then, like I said, like, he was, like, super connected, so that was, like, just, like, that grief process that we were all going through, and then, like, trying to figure out, like, how is this affecting the guys that we're working with now that we're close
Yeah.
with him? And I think in a way too, like, it made people more vulnerable and open, like,
Mhm.
it's all was going on, but it also, like, became a little bit scarier too because of the sense that, like, it kind of, like, identified more people that were struggling that you, like, didn't quite realize were. Um, so I think, again, it just, like, it started to shift the way I was seeing things and viewing things that I was dealing with, and it's like, we have got to do better, like, we've gotta be able to do more, because, again, like, you just like, you feel responsible, like, you
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a connection, like you said before, you had a connection with all these students, and
yeah.
you
So
think
it's
to yourself, like, "Well, how the hell did I miss this?"
yeah, yeah, like, what did I do? And, like, Yeah, so again, I think, there was a lot of things then that, like, transpired, like, more student athletes that were dealing with stuff, and so that was in February of 2019, and then in November of 2019, again, like, more things happening, nothing um, like, again, just getting more people into services, like, getting them counseling, trying to get them those resources, and then there was a student before, I guess, before November, in September, who, had called me. He told me that he was, like, standing on a bridge and changed his mind, and I was the first call. So, like, in the middle of study hall, like, had to go get this student, like, again, like, same thing, like, I didn't, like, continue, but it was we have to, like, get him to resources and whatever, but, like, I think that just shows you, like, again, like, I'm the first phone call of you changing your mind wherever you are, and it was just,
Mhm.
like, again, like, these kinds of things that were happening where it's like, something's not okay, like, there's so much pressure, there's so many things happening, like, what more can we do? Like, you can't put too much on yourself, but again, it made you think, like, there's gotta be something more, like, it's not
Right.
just one off, like, people are struggling, people are dealing with a lot, and it's like, we have to take those things seriously. And then in November of 2019, Najee Flowers, he was a current student athlete, so it definitely, really, like, impacted and, shifted things incredibly hard, but, um, he on November 5th, he sent a text message to, like, 5 of his friends, I wanna say, basically saying, like, "This is it, like, you're not gonna see me," like, that kinda thing, and I remember I got a call at, like, 6 AM from another student who called me and said, "This is what Najee said, he sent me this text, like, I don't know what to do," and I was like, "Hang up and call 911." I remember, like, putting like, getting dressed as fast as I could, like, getting in the car, like, I didn't know where the kid lived,
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing, but it was, like, that moment of, like,
You just have to get out
you
there.
have to do something, And so in that moment, it was, like, calling, administrators, like, to figure out where does he live, making sure somebody's getting sent over there, and, like, in that time, the student that had called me was calling me back to tell me he was already gone, like, it was too late. So, it was, like, administrators, student athletes showing up to his house, like, you seeing him leave in a body bag, like, "This is one of your students that is, like, current active," and for me, it became, like, that one was, like, I came in and he was a sophomore, and he was the one I mentioned earlier about sign language, like, he was one of those students, he was dealing with so much, like, it wasn't it wasn't a surprise, but it was one of those things where it's, like, you just never thought, you don't wanna think those things, so it's again, he had been in counseling, we had, like, done those things, but it was, like, he was the one that I was being very vocal about with our administration, like, "He's gonna be the kid that makes you guys realize, like, we need to do more.
Mhm.
We have to do more, we have to be able to give them resources if this is, like, the environment we're creating for them," and it was just you knew it was, like, almost gonna happen. It was like, there's gotta be something more we can do to be able to help him, but, I mean, like, it was rough for a while after, um
Yeah, I can't imagine.
yeah, and, like, you're dealing with your own grief, again, like I said, like, I spent so much time with Najee because, again, like, he was one of those students that needed the extra support and, like,
Mhm.
he really trying to figure out life and, like, what he was gonna do and, like, very much fell into that, like, the pressure of, like, family, of what he wanted to do, where he was gonna go, the pressure of football, like, if he even wanted to play football, like, just all of that, like, it just
Yeah.
created this environment, but he was I was so close with him, like, I'm gonna start laughing talking about him because he was, like, almost like a very dark sense of humor, but he had, like, the most, like, fun personality because he was just like, he would say crazy things and was just fun to be around and, because I had to spend so much time with him, we got so close, and so, um, again, obviously, like, it's like you're grieving this person that you, like, love and care about so much, and then you're standing around and looking and, like, there's an entire team around here who's also grieving this, and I'm the person they're coming to for support and for,
Yeah.
like, it was just
Well, that was gonna be my next question is,
yeah,
especially in the position that you're at in terms of, like you said, you're usually the first phone call, you're talking to these people, you have relationships with these students. How are you how are you dealing with your own grief while also taking on so much of other people's grief as well? I mean, that has to be
yeah,
exhausting on a whole other level as well.
yeah, and I don't like I think the way I dealt with my grief during that time, and it's kinda like what led to, like, what we were creating, but it was trying to deal with everybody else's, like,
Mhm.
it was a lot. I don't think I was quite I don't think me processing what happened really happened until later, like, as far as, like, my own grief and my own process of that. Because I think, again, like, for so long, it was, like, every time, like, your phone rings, it's like, "What is this gonna be?" And, like, I feel like you live in this state of, like, what's next and, like, what's coming next, and I think the only way I, like, broke through that was, like, focusing on work and, like, what was going on around me and how I could support everybody else, and again, I think that's, like, where, like, Tomorrow Needs You came from was,
Mhm.
being able to, like, direct and, like, put that somewhere where it felt like I wasn't able, not able to do enough for him, but, like, maybe for somebody else I can, and I think that was, where it had to shift and where it had to focus for me
Yeah.
because it's how what do you do? Like, how do you process that? And,
I mean, maybe that is a way that you process it is by
like
tunneling that into hope for from everybody else, you know?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's where we went with it because it was, otherwise, it's like you live in the constant, what if, Like, you think about all the you replay everything, and it's like, "Well, did I do the right thing here? Like, should I have
Mhm.
said this instead of this? So, like, should I have done" it's like and it's I mean, like, you follow what you're supposed to do and you follow, protocols and, you do all these things, but it's like, no matter what, I think you always go back and think, like, "I could have done this," or "I could have done that. I should have said this," or, like, "What if," you know? I think, it's hard, again, you replay everything, he had, I, tell this story to everybody about because again, we had such a, love-hate relationship, he and I, just battled, went back and forth, and I had this picture in my office of, well, I guess I had, a little, bulletin board, so I had, pictures of me and students in the office, and there was one of, him and I, and he would always, come in and be like, "Ugh, that's gross, get rid of it, take it all," that sort of
Yeah.
thing. So, I remember, he would, take it and, hang it up somewhere else or, flip it around and hang it upside down or, just, that sort of thing, was always messing with it, and then one day it just, completely disappeared, and I was like, "Najee, what did you do with that picture?" "It's my picture, not yours, you don't get to, make a decision about it." And he was like, "I threw it away," whatever, and I was like, just, eye roll, it was, typical behavior of going back and forth. Um, but about 2 weeks before he passed, he randomly sent me a picture, and he had texted me a picture, it was the picture that he had, so he still had it, and I was like, "You jerk," But I'm thinking it's he wanted I think he already knew, and he wanted me to know, he had it, and then, that, his, best friend that I became close with after, she was like, "Yeah, that was in his room, he had it hanging up, but it was, that moment of, should I have known in that moment? Is that what he was trying to tell me, And it's, those kinds of things that, just replay in your head.
Replay in your head, but I mean, also, like, how could you still at that point?
Yeah,
You know?
you don't you're not thinking that way, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so but then it's again, it's it is one of those moments though too where I hold on to that because it's he wanted me to know that he
Mhm.
had
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, man,
sorry.
Andrea, yeah. No, don't be sorry. Don't be
Take
sorry at all. I mean, so, these couple of rough, I guess, I guess, a year or so, I guess, a couple of
yeah.
years or whatever it is, are is things being put in place now? Are people's eyes are kinda opening up and be like, "Okay, maybe we do need to start, uh,
Yeah,
reinforcing some things around here, maybe start broadening our horizons in terms of being there and
yeah.
listening." helping
I
people.
Yeah, I think so, like, I do think it got better and people were taking it more seriously. I think I was still just, like, trapped in, like, the connection of it all where it was, like, it just never felt like it was enough, but I think some of that was just me, especially, like, dealing with, like, the back-to-back losses like that and, like, not feeling but, I mean, ultimately, like, that's why I left, like, I felt like it wasn't like, I didn't feel like we were able to do what we needed to do still, like, I
Mm,
think people took it seriously and were trying to do what they needed to, but in this world of, like it's, like, crazy as I feel like college sports, it's like you have so many resources and so much money, but, like, a school like New Mexico, they're still Division I, but doesn't have the same as somewhere else, and so it's like they're like, their hands are tied too, like, there's
yeah.
only so much you can do, and, like and mental health is hard, it's a hard topic, and, like, because there's not some, like, easy solution or something you're able to do, so I think but it like, to me, like, it just never felt like we were doing enough or putting enough into it, and it was like, we lost 2 students, like, this is real, and this is something that we need to do, and, like, I just felt like I was becoming part of the problem in the sense of, like, if I'm okay with where the standards are by, like, staying
Mm,
doing this, like, then I'm saying, like, this is okay, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be the advisor, like, the mentor, all of that, and I'm saying, "I'm okay with this," like, they're all watching me sit around and, like, be a like, I like, that was what
be
kinda
complacent. Yeah.
yeah, and it was like, it's not enough, and, like, if this is what the standard is gonna be, like, I can't do this anymore because, like, I just feel like I'm just becoming part of the problem, like, I
Yeah.
need part
Yeah.
of the
You don't
okay.
want to become part of that standard, you know?
Yeah, so it's like yeah, I don't know, I think again, I do think it really opened people's eyes, but I think, again, like, as we've seen across the country, like, I mean, mental health just continues, and to, like, just be on the rise of people struggling and dealing with different things, and,
Yeah.
yeah, I think, again, I think we're talking about it a lot more, which I do think is good, and, like, I think that will help resources become available and more things happen, but it's like you have to talk about it, you have to, like, share your stories and because I think that's, like, the big thing too, like, there's such a stigma around it,
Mm,
and then again, like, you start talking about college athletics, like, they're there to perform, like, at the end of the day, especially now, like, changes in college athletics, like, that's what they're there to do is to perform athletically, and so, I think a lot of times students feel like if they speak up about that, then, like, that affects their
yeah.
playing time, like, all of
Yeah.
these things, like, they're not in a place where they're able to, and so, like, trying to, like, break through that stigma, of, like, let's talk about it, so like, people can say, like, "I'm not okay, and there's these things going on,"
Mhm. Mhm.
and I think that's the only way that it gets better, and I think we're still working towards all of that, and I don't think there's, like, some perfect solution, but yeah, I still don't think it's where it needs to be either,
No,
because
no, I
there's
mean, it absolutely has come a long way. I mean, it
yeah,
sounds silly, but I was at a Phillies game, and before the game, they had this 5-minute, 10-minute on the big screen, and all the speakers talking about mental health and
yeah,
asking for help, and, all the players talking about mental health and stuff like that,
right.
and I thought to myself, "Wow, that's kinda crazy. I don't think I would have heard that a couple of years ago." Um, but yeah, I mean, I agree. It's still and the fact that there's still kind of almost a debate on where to go with that is kinda mind blowing too,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, I agree. It's like, it's wild again, like, there's continues to be more and more conversation, but, like, there needs to be more too.
Yep, for sure. Um, so you end up so real quick from
Mhm.
New Mexico, you jump to Louisiana. Is this when you start creating Tomorrow Needs You?
Yeah,
Or
so it was, a little bit of both. So, like,
Mhm,
once I stepped away from athletics, like, that's really when it happened, but, because of that, like, Najee, his one of his best friends, her name's Tish Flanders, she came to our offices after everything had happened. We had, like, in our athletic office, counselors available, and it was, like,
mhm,
open to anybody that was affected, like, through what all had happened, and so in that, and then just going through, like, funeral and all of those things, like, I she was somebody I was introduced to. Um, and so her and I became super close, and I think we were, like, very similar in a lot of ways, and I think, again, like, that like, how we were dealing with grief was very similar, and so and I think her and I were just again, just being so close to him, it was like, this can't be, like, also, like, the end of his story. Like, if we stop talking about this, like, again, it kinda goes back to the, like, we're being okay with this,
Yeah.
it's just, okay, like, now he's forgotten, is that what he thought was gonna happen anyways, Like, that's why so it's like his story doesn't end here, and, like, even just us talking about it, it's like, if we're able to keep talking about it, you don't know who this resonates with and,
Yeah.
like, who hears that, and then, like, they go search for help, or somebody hears it and they're like, "I feel like I can make a difference, like, what can I do? Like, how can I help?" And, like, again, it starts to break that stigma, and it was like, if we can't do anything else, like, we can at least talk about it, like,
Mhm.
if nothing else, like, we're able to do that, so, I think that's kinda, like, where it stood, so it was a little bit like, again, I wasn't in New Mexico for a super long time after, so, it started in New Mexico, but then, like, when I moved to Louisiana, but it was between her and I, and it was just, like, this way of, "We've gotta do something, like, what can we do?"
Yeah, we need to carry on. I mean, and make sure his name and his story's still out there.
Yeah,
Um, that's really cool. So, you guys essentially, you created Tomorrow Needs You. You know, I love that it came from you and his close friend kinda coming
yeah,
together through that grief. Grief is kind of obviously not kind of, it's brutal, as we just talked about, but there's some things that can come out of it that can really change some lives, and I think Tomorrow Needs You is easily one of them. So, why don't you, before we start getting into what Tomorrow Needs You, why
yeah,
don't you talk about how you came about it and how it started coming together?
yeah, so, again, like, it was just her and I, like, just, I think, continually, like, staying in touch and talking, and it was, like, helping each other through, like, like, I'm having a hard day,
Yeah.
just wanting to talk and, like, trying to figure it out, and I remember, like, we saw something or whatever and, like, saw that Tomorrow Needs You, and it was, like, the way that is and, like, how it, just, like, it resonated, like, for us, like, Tomorrow Needs You, like, there's that very simple, like, when you're talking to somebody who is suicidal, it's like, "Nope, tomorrow does need you." There's so many people
Mhm.
here that love you and care about you and support you and want you to be here, and so but also, like, the kinda like the direction we took with it too was, like, we need all of us, like, tomorrow needs you to be sitting here interviewing me and talking to me about this so that somebody else hears this story,
Yeah.
we need people that are going into the mental health profession because, like, they want to make a difference. Like, somebody that's hosting something in their community, like, we need everybody to be able to make it to tomorrow. Like, it's so important for everybody to be there. So it's like this, like, two-way street of, the very obvious, like I said, like, just reminding people, like, you're loved, you are cared about, like, tomorrow
Right,
does
right.
need you here, but, like, what more can we all do? Like, you may not
Yeah.
be struggling, but you never know when you will be, and it's we just all need those reminders.
I love that. Yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah,
Individually, we need you here, and then also we need everyone on board with
yeah,
looking out for each other and hearing,
yeah.
spreading the story. Um, so for listeners who may not know, what is Tomorrow Needs You and how exactly does it work? Also, phenomenal name, by the way. Tomorrow Needs You. It's
Thank
absolutely
you.
beautiful. Huge
Yeah.
fan.
Thank you. We do too. Yeah, so it's again, it kinda started small, like I said, it was like, what can we do? And so, and I guess I should, like, back up a little bit too, after Najee passed, again, it was, like, that idea of, like, we've gotta be able to do more,
Mm.
and this kinda played into, like, the direction we went with it, but we started, like, a GoFundMe, in honor of him, in memory of him. And, like I said, he was pursuing sign language, and so, we created a GoFundMe that went back to, New Mexico's School of the Deaf, and so we raised, like, over, like, $4,000, just, like, in, like, a week because of,
Wow.
like, outpouring of love, like, that story and who he was had, like, it impacted so many people, and I think, like, everybody was just kinda, like, feeling that same, like, there's
Mm.
gotta be something else we can do, and that, like, opened our eyes too of, like, we were able to do this, so, what more could we do? Like, people are, like, hearing this story and they wanna be able to do more. Um, so again, it started with the sweatshirt you're wearing today. That was the first thing. Again, we had some
Pretty
T-shirts.
awesome. Can I get the camera there? There it is.
Yeah, I love it. So we were like, again, like, people are gonna be willing to, like, buy a sweatshirt or buy a t-shirt, like, buy a sticker, something like that, you know? So it was like,
Mhm.
and then also now we have, like, walking billboards out there, you know, of people that are literally
So cool.
sending the message, yeah, of tomorrow needs you, and so we started there and we're like, "We'll see how it does," you know? And, like, the first, I think, sale, like, we raised, like, close to $2,000, and we were like, "Holy cow, like, what do we do now?" You know? And so we
Yeah.
started talking with, some people at the University of New Mexico. So Brandy Stone, she's in charge there of, the, it's called the FRO, but the African American Student Services on campus, and
Mm.
she connected us with people, through, like, the University of New Mexico Foundation, and she was like, "This is what we've done, we were able to create a scholarship, you could probably do the same," and so we were able to put in, like, stipulations and guidelines, so all the sales, all the profit, like, all the money that we received from that went straight to, the foundation, and, we created this scholarship in honor of Najee. So there's the Tomorrow Needs You scholarship now at the University of New Mexico. So, at this point, we've awarded 5 scholarships, and so those go to people. They have to go through an application process. They submit, like, essays, resume, and that sort of thing, and it's going to somebody who's either, like, going to, like, school, like, majoring, they're pursuing a career that's gonna lead them to, make a difference in mental health, or maybe they could be doing something in their community now to be able to make a difference.
Mm.
And then they're implementing programs through the help of Brandy and her center, that are doing, like, programs each semester to, like, it could be, like, a mental health day leading up to exam day, you know, like, creating, like, an environment where people can come in and study, relax, like, take some time, like, things like just, like, simple little things, but, like, making them also, like, put to action what we're
Mhm.
trying to do. So, yeah, we've been able to award 5 scholarships there, since we started, and then
Incredible.
yeah, and then we were able to also spread to Mississippi State, so we were able to award 2 scholarships there as well, and so, again, it's like, I think just, like, simply, again, like, you wearing that sweatshirt, me wearing mine today, it's like,
Yeah.
like, people comment all the time, like, I love that, like, wow, you know, like, you can just
Yeah.
see, like, people's, like, eyes, like, are drawn to it, and, like, it sparks conversation, it, like, you just never know where that's gonna lead to, and again, like
Mm.
I said, we have a bunch of walking billboards out there now that are just reminding the world, like, "You're loved, we
Yeah.
want you here, we need you here," but then the money from that is able to go on to, like, support students that are trying to make a difference too.
I mean, that's incredible. I mean, like I said, I mean, "Tomorrow Needs You," great,
Yeah.
great line, love it. And then you guys can't I mean, I'm gonna throw some clips online, but the swag is actually pretty sweet. You guys did a really nice job.
I think you've done a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I gotta, like, credit Tish some there too. I think she keeps me a little bit younger too and, like, helps me with that eye for design, but I think, again, like, again, we want people to want to wear it and
Right,
want to
right.
share it, and again, like, you just never know, like, again, it's like people say all the time, you know, like, you don't know what somebody's going through in their day, and, like, that smile, like, just, like, how many times are you asked, like, "How are you?" And you're just like, "I'm good, I'm fine," you know,
Right,
and it's the end of
right.
conversation, and, like,
Living the dream, you know?
yeah, and you don't
There,
really
sure.
ever know, yeah, like, what somebody has going on or, like, what they're dealing with, and it's just, again, I think we just all need that reminder a little bit more in life that, like, there's people out there that do care, and, like,
Yeah,
I think even when you are, like, in those darkest, lowest times, like, there's people that care about you and want you to be okay, so
yeah. I mean, that's awesome. And you know, I think there's something that comes with a lot of times with like mental health. People think, oh, mental health, we got to talk mental health. It's like, okay, this is going to get heavy. This is going to get heavy. And I'm sure there are heavy elements to it.
Mhm.
There are heavy conversations, but not all of it has to be heavy. You know, what I mean, I think what you guys are doing is really, really cool with like,
Yeah,
you know, stickers and hoodies and a great line tomorrow need you and you know, scholarships and stuff like that. Like you're also celebrating the
yeah, right.
mental health. You know what I mean? I think that's really, really important too. I think
Yeah,
that's really
I think
cool.
so too, and, like, to not like, you don't want people to live in that darkness and, like,
Hmm.
feeling like it's I don't know, I think it's, again, it's reminding everybody too that, like, everybody's going through something and, like,
Everybody. Yep.
yeah, like, you just don't know, like, who's out there and who can help you and all of those things, and again, it's, like, trying to bring the positivity back into it, and again, it's, like, you're, like, trying to build a community, you know?
Yeah.
Like you want people to feel seen and feel supported and all of that, and I think, like, that's what brings light to it. It's, like, seeing, like,
Yes.
like, you truly aren't alone, like, and I think when you're dealing with mental health, like, that's really what it comes down to. It's, like, that feeling of, like, isolation, like, that's what I think is finally, like, that, like, final
Mhm.
straw of, like, it's just me going through this and I can't do this anymore, and it's, like, that's what you don't want people to feel.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, with social media, being a big part of that now and everything else, everything feels like a lot, super heavy, and it's
Yeah,
hard not to be like, "Well, look at these people living their best lives, and I'm over here in a corner
yeah,
by myself."
yeah,
Um, it's important to know that not all of that's real, and that we're all going through something, and we all, somebody out there is looking out for you, and we'll look out for you.
yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So it seems like you got a pretty good response from everything, right? From the swag alone and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely, and it continues again, like, I think it's hard, like, we've gotten busy in life too, and I feel like sometimes it takes a little bit of a backseat, like, we'd like to be able to pour more into it, but I think
Mhm.
that's where, like, this kinda stuff is so important, just, like, continue to talk about it 'cause like now to like crossing over into uplifting athletes and being in this other space and like
Yeah.
a different area of helping people and all of that, like now I have student athletes that are like have purchased, like the Tomorrow Needs You stuff and just seeing that overlap. Cause again, it's like it is something that affects everybody. And like that's been really cool to see it continue to grow and spread
Mhm.
and like that's really what we're asking for, I think. Again, like we never had like these like crazy aspirations with it. It was just like, who can we like help? Like, even if it's just one person, like that's where like
Yeah.
this, like, we're like, are we ever even going to raise enough to be able to do a scholarship? Like, we don't know. And like the fact that we don't do seven, like you just don't know how that can help somebody. And like just that little extra boost that somebody needs. Like, that's all we were ever looking to do. So,
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that you start something from the purity of just your soul and based in hope and light
yeah,
and just to do good and to do better. I think it takes amazing form and I think, we'll know no bounds and just it'll blow up the best way possible. That's great.
love it.
Um, you come from a background of recreational therapy and using sports for like healing.
Mhm.
How do you see athletics intersecting with mental health support in the future?
I think like some of the things too of I guess I guess 2 main parts is how I see this.
Yeah.
Because I think again, I feel like put a little bit of a downer on some of that side of athletics because of the pressure and all of
Mhm.
that, but also, like, athletics, when you look at it, like, you're put on a team at a school, like, whether you're playing college, high school, like, little league, whatever, like, you are literally being put on a team where you're surrounded by people that should have the same goal as you, like, whether it's to win or whatever it is, but you're all working towards this common goal, and it creates these, like, relationships and friendships that truly last a lifetime, like, you see these, like, college student athletes that are going on and, like, they're the groomsmen in the weddings, like I went
Mhm.
to, like, one of my students' weddings and, like, the groomsmen were all former players, like, you're creating these bonds that is, like, what people need for mental health. It's, like, creating this idea of, like, you do have people on your side, you do have this team supporting you, and then, like, again, you bring in college athletics, like, you have a whole stadium full of people that are rooting for you. Like, again, there's that side of too of, like, the pressure and all of that, but, like, the means are there, like, the community is there, the people that are there, like, you have support, so I think, like, that's the cool thing about sports is it truly does bring people together, um, and, like, I guess in that same way too, like student athletes, athletics, um, these schools, like professionally, whatever, like they have a platform. Like everybody in the world is paying attention to sports. And so like it goes back to like breaking that stigma and just being able to talk about it, which we've seen so much more of. But like athletics is like truly like you have the community and you have the platform. So it's like choosing what you're going to talk about and how you're going to present yourself, like what you're going to do, but it's all there because like it is exciting, it's fun. It's fun to go to games, like you love to root for these people and like see all of this. And so, like a high school student is looking up to a college student athlete or an NFL player who then is also like being vulnerable enough to share about their mental health and like things are going on. So it's like it starts to like break down those walls where it's like doesn't become such a scary thing anymore to be like ask for help, ask for resources, ask for support, and then it's all built into that anyways. So I think like there's a side where there is so much pressure and all of those things built in, but it's also like this I'm gonna use your word, this beautiful community of people around yeah, this beautiful community of people around you that are, like, quite literally, like, cheering you on and, like,
Yeah.
cheering you on in life, and it's, like, it's all right there where I think, like, that's where it becomes so important is, like, it's like sports are this thing that, like, that just bring people together, and, like,
Mhm.
that's what we're looking to do too and, like, what we need, so it's also, like I think that's also, like, the bright side of all of it too is,
Yeah.
like, you have this thing that is, like, so, like, heavily, like, looked upon and all of this, but it's, like, what can you do with that? And, I think, again, like, athletes just have this opportunity to be able to share their own messages, like, whatever it doesn't have to be about mental health, it doesn't have to be whatever, but, like, you do have this platform, so, like, what are you gonna do with it? And
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that ties into the whole uplifting
Mhm.
athletes that
Yeah.
you're a part of,
Yeah.
which is an absolutely incredible,
It's
organization in its own right.
biased, but it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, and that's really cool, and it's you're right. I mean, taking the idea of sports and the camaraderie of sports and the pure joy that can be sports, and that it lends itself to,
To that.
taking that energy and that lightness and kind of
Yeah.
using it to help people. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Think that's already all right. Do you think schools and athletic programs are doing enough right now for mental health, right? Or you think there's still a big gap? I know you said that we've come a long way, and I know you've kind of said like you feel like we're still not there, but where do you think that we are in terms of like how big that gap is of getting there? Do you think we're
Yeah.
on
I
our
think
way or
I think we're on our way. Again, I think it's one of those things like mental health is so challenging because of what it is, like it's stuff that's
Mhm.
going on in your brain that's like it's hard to identify and figure
It's
out
kind
like
of all encompassing too. Like, when you
yeah,
talk mental health, like which avenue are we going down? What are we talking about
right.
mental health in terms of what
Yes.
does that mean? What does that look like? So yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like a challenging aspect, but I think like again, like when you look at college athletics, for example, like there's Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, NAIA, like there's like the junior college level. Like at all of those levels, again, like you're still dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids that are dealing with pressures, their own pressures, but like each of those levels and then within each of those levels, everybody has different resources, like the University of New Mexico, like our academic staff, we had at the most like 5 to 6 people full time, where when I was at Mississippi State, we had like closer to 20 people on the academic staff full time, So like just the resources that you're dealing with at different levels, like that's why I think also there is such a big gap. But I do think like what's hard right now is like schools are doing as much as they can because there's so many different things that they have to address in different
Right.
levels, but it's like you don't want it to have to be like a response to. Like that's I think was my big thing is like what
Mhm.
we're dealing with was like we were responding to what had happened.
Reactive,
So,
not proactive.
yeah, and I think like that's still like where we need to like I mean, I think everybody needs therapy, like, everybody needs somebody to talk to, whether you're like I just said I describe my life as being, like, fulfilling and this great thing, and I am, like, happy in my life, but it's like, you can still benefit from those things, So I think
100%.
yeah, so I think, again, like, there can be schools that are doing a great job of, like, providing those resources and doing the most they can, but then also at that same level, there can be another school that has a third of their resources and aren't able to do that, but like but they still have student athletes at their school that are like dealing with this, like it's just I think again, like it goes back to like, is it ever gonna be enough? I don't know. But I
Yeah.
think um I think in the last couple of years, I think it's been taken a lot more seriously, which I think is a good thing, and I think only, like, hopefully it continues, and hopefully people continue to talk and push and, like and try to get the resources needed, so at least, like, again, like, maybe it does shift from more of, like, being reactive to proactive, like,
Right, right.
you're able to do more, so I don't know. I don't know if that completely answers your question, but
I think it does.
yeah.
I think you did a great job there.
Good.
Um, this is all I could tell. It was super late at night when I wrote this question. The word magic wand is in it. If you could wave a magic wand,
Oh,
what's
no.
one thing you'd want to change in the way institutions support students struggling with mental health?
Oh, man.
Also, at any point in time, if you're like, "That's a dumb question, I don't wanna answer that," you can say that
I
too.
know, I know. I was like, I'll always try to answer it. Maybe it won't be a good answer and you'll have to cut it out, but, I feel like I think kinda like just like what I just referred to is like more of the proactive approach. Like,
Mhm.
it's like, for one, just having the resources, like having the people there that are able to like do intakes with students as they're coming in. Like some of that stuff is happening, and I do think at some institutions it is happening, but, like, not everywhere because they can't do it. So I think, like, that would be my, like, magic wand. Again, like, you're not gonna catch everybody and everything and be able to do all of those things, but, like, if you at least start with that, like, it's a starting point that could, like, make a huge difference, you know? Like,
Mhm.
I think it's you don't really know, again, like you get information from, like, parents, from, like, through the recruiting process and all of those things, like, you're able to hear that kinda stuff about their backgrounds and what they could be dealing with, but you don't always get the full picture, and I think
Yeah.
putting more into that, it's like, now you have a better idea of, like, who's coming in and, like, what they're dealing with and, like, how you can make like, set them up for success. So again, like, you're, like, proactively, like, trying to put them into some sort of routine or, like, give them resources ahead of time that they need.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Um, see, 4:22 or 3:22 over you, right? So we got, like, 8 minutes?
We're good.
Alright. Um, just got a couple more questions, then we'll wrap it up, alright? Sound
Cool.
good?
Yeah.
Um, when the weight of all this advocacy work gets heavy, how do you take care of yourself and, like, recharge?
Oh, I don't know. I was like I think I've gotten better at it in the last few
Mhm.
years. I think, again, I used to, like, pour myself into work instead of like, that was, like, my outlet, but I think, again, like, it becomes overwhelming. Now, like I said, like, I have the kids and, like, the stuff that's going on in their life, so I think it's just, like,
Yeah.
it's spending time with the people you love. I think, again, it's, like, that reminder of, like, things feel heavy, but it's like, "Oh, like, there's all these people that care about and I'm gonna get emotional talking about them." You know, like, there's, like, all these people that care about me too, and, like, it can it's just sitting around and talking to them and hearing about their day and, like,
Yeah.
going through life like, that to me is, like, I think the most like, fulfilling thing right now, like, whether it's the kids, my fiancé, if it's family, friends, like, I realize how lucky I am, and again, like, how blessed I am to have so many people around me that do care about me, and, like, I am such a people person, so I think that is also, like, what recharges me, like, even though it can be draining, it's, like, that
Yeah, yeah.
reminder of, like, just love, like, people and being around them and getting to share moments with them.
Yeah, nourishes your soul.
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So what's next for Tomorrow Needs You? Any new initiatives or dreams you're hoping to build towards or any new big things
Yeah.
down?
Nothing like super planned or anything like that, but I think like our goal, like I said, like Tish and I think we get like busy sometimes in our own life. Like you have work and like you can't put
Yeah,
everything into the like the side project. But again, it's just like that opportunity for growth because again, like it all goes back to like the why of we created it, like even if it's just like being able to like double, triple like sales where like I would love to see a Tomorrow Needs You scholarship at every school across the
yeah,
country, like how do we grow it to that? Like that's what we are looking forward to, but it's just like day by day, as much as we can continue to spread the message and like spread that reminder is what we're hoping for too.
well, I'll put the website,
Yeah,
on the description of the podcast.
yeah, I was
You
gonna
have
say,
a website on it.
yeah, hear more about our story. There's videos on the website too, and like you can hear a little bit more from Tish as well too. Like she has a different perspective from like, she was at a different stage in life and, like,
Mhm.
her relationship and her connection to Najee and, like, what she went through, like, everybody has such a different perspective, and I think that's important for people to hear.
Yeah, that is super important. It's super human, right? Like,
Yeah,
everybody can be involved in the same thing, but come from a different avenue, you know what I mean?
right,
Different perspective, and it's kind of the beautiful thing about that.
right, for
There's that
sure.
word again. Beautiful.
Yes. See? It's a good one. I agree with you.
Um, what would you say braving the bright side means to you?
Oh, I think, um, like, it's like, we're all gonna deal with stuff in life, and, that's what life is, like, you get thrown curveballs and you're, like, thrown these different circumstances, but it's like, how do you how do you come out better from that? But then also not just you, like, making other people better too. It's staying lighthearted, and wanting to change and, wanting to have, like, just again, life be better for everybody, radiate this, positivity where people can come to you and, I think that's, where the braving is. It's, it's so easy. I think I saw, there was, 2 paths I could go down, it was very heavy and it was very dark for a while of, you just again, like you said, you go down this path of, the what ifs and you get caught in that, but it's I don't wanna take that path, I wanna be able to do better, to do more, and, be better for somebody else, so it's what do you do with this? And it's not easy, it's hard to talk about these things, but again, we're all dealing with this in, in different ways, and I say this in, in the sense of, everybody's dealing with their own circumstances, and, that's what life is, but, how do you make the most of that and, continue on to where, now all of a sudden, we're, building this community of people that, care about what other people are going through, but also, making the most of it and making things better.
Wow. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I might take that and just put it as the tagline
There
for
you
my
go.
whole entire podcast.
Perfect.
If someone listening today is struggling or you know someone who is, what's the message that you would want them to hear?
Um, I mean, can I say tomorrow needs you? Is that too
Now, go for it.
I know, but again, it really is, it's as simple as that, I just think, if I could go back, to Ramel or Nashi, it's do they even know, the impact that they had on me? And I think that's something too that we need to,
Mm.
like, before losing them, I could have told them too, that impact that they had on me, it wasn't because of losing them that they had an impact on me, that just amplified it because it's what else could you have continued to do? Like, um, I think we as humans need to be better about telling people that they matter to us and that we care about them because it's so easy to just go through life and you think you're doing it from time to time, but being more intentional about it because I think again it's so easy for that message to get lost that we love you, we care about you, you matter. And so I think that's what I want people to hear and it's if you don't feel like you have that, there are resources out there that will help you and, help you get you to a place that you can feel that, but it's also, lean on the people around you and, and remind yourself, but I think again, even for the people not struggling, the people that may not feel like they're struggling right now, be intentional about, telling people you love them. I think that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah. Even, I mean, because there's literally every human being out there
Yeah,
deserves a, hey, how are you? How you really
yeah,
doing? I
yeah,
love you and I appreciate you.
right, and, not just throwing out the, "How are you?" and, moving about your day, you're not even hearing their answer before you're
Hmm.
moving to the next thing, and it's I think we get so caught up because life is busy and it's hard and there's so many things going on, it's just so easy to, go through your day, and not stop for a second,
Yeah.
sometimes you all just need to, pause. Yeah.
Um, well, Andrea, this has been pretty amazing. I'll be fully honest with you, you know, in terms of like getting ready to do this interview, I was kind of nervous because I was like, can I really make sure I do your story and your
Yeah,
message service in terms of like the subject matter? Because it is, you know, obviously a little heavier and stuff like that.
yeah,
But you yourself make it very approachable, very easy to listen because of your, I mean, how much you've been through and you made yourself a net to kind of catch everyone's grief and
yeah,
how much you care in your heart. You make it very easy to invest in and talk about.
yeah,
And I think that's kind of your goal, you know, is to
yeah.
make this, you know, to make this conversation happen across, you know, across the country and further. Um, but really, thank you so much for being a part of it, for coming on here and telling your story and giving me some sweet swag that I'm going to wear.
I know, you gotta rock it.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Again, it's as simple as that. I appreciate you, giving me the opportunity even to talk about it again. I think it's something now, like it's gonna be 6 years now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it's like I find myself, like, not talking about it as much anymore, because again, like, you go through life and, like but again, it's a story I think that people need to hear, and like I said, like, our goal was, like, not to just let those stories end there, because like,
Yeah.
shouldn't have, so
They're important stories to hear for sure.
yes. Yeah,
And I'm hoping somebody out there, multiple people out there will hear this
yeah.
and think to themselves, man, yeah, I gotta start saying hi and giving people some high fives and some hugs.
Just spread the love.
Yeah.
That was not
Spread the
a
love.
good thing, but it was like, it's true.
Yeah.
Want
No, it
to.
seems simple enough, but really, at the end of the day, like you said, instead of just moving on, hi, how are you? Moving on, hi, how are you?
Yeah,
Taking that couple extra seconds to check in.
yeah,
Um,
important.
Andrew, thank you so much. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you. I
I really
appreciate it.
appreciate you coming by.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. You take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Man, what a conversation. What a story. What a journey. What an awesome person Andrea Pierson is, huh? I mean, what a moment. I just keep thinking about how powerful it is, right? To take pain, to take that kind of hurt and the kind that can easily just break you and just leave you there and just stop you in your tracks and then take that and turn it into something that saves others. What Andrea Pierson Tomorrow Needs You are doing is much more than advocacy. It's an act of bravery. It's choosing to speak when God knows silence would be so much easier. It's building hope where heartbreak once lived. And maybe that's the reminder we all need, right? That even the heaviest stories can become lanterns for someone else's path. So if you're struggling, if life feels dim, remember, tomorrow needs you too. Your voice, your presence, your light, they mean and they matter more than you know. Thank you, Andrea, for your heart, your honesty, and the work you continue to do in the honor of Ramel, Naji, and everyone still fighting to stay. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this. Asking for help isn't a weakness. It's one of the bravest things a person can do. It takes real courage to admit when you're struggling, and even more to keep choosing to stay, to reach out, and to try again tomorrow. Andrea's story and the work being done through Tomorrow Needs You is a powerful reminder that even in our darkest seasons, there are people who care deeply about helping others find their way back to the light. If something in today's conversation stirred something in you, or if you're in a place where the weight feels too heavy to carry alone, please don't stay silent. Reach out to someone. Talk to a friend, a loved one, or reach out for professional help. You can contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline anytime by calling or texting 988 or by visiting 988lifeline.org. Please know that you are not alone, and this world is better with you in it. If you'd like to share your own story or just need someone to listen, you can always reach me at bravingthebrightside@gmail.com or on Instagram at braving_thebrightside. Thank you for spending a little time on the bright side with me today. Until next time, keep braving it. One step, one sunrise, one honest conversation at a time, and one reminder that tomorrow needs you too. I'll see you next time.